Hi, today I'm going to teach you how to kill people. Just kidding. In fact, today I'm going to teach you how not to kill people, how to use a firearm safely and effectively without posing a threat to anybody around you. Now, we're all probably from Western PA, Eastern PA, New York, Ohio, West Virginia, places around this area, and we all probably know somebody that owns and uses a firearm. Whether they use it to go hunting, go to the gun range, just use it recreationally, we've all probably been around a firearm in the past, whether or not we picked one up at some point in our life. Personally, I've been around firearms since I was a kid. The first time I used a firearm was when I was 8 years old. I sat down with my grandpa and my dad, and we had a very, very serious conversation about gun safety and how to use a gun responsibly. From 2006 to 2016, almost 6,885 people in the U.S. died from unintentional shootings. In 2016 alone, there was 495 incidents of accidental firearm deaths. In 2018, accidental gun deaths accounted for 1% of the total gun-related deaths in the United States. All of these people died unnecessarily. All of them died because somebody was irresponsible with their gun and ended up taking their life. Now, according to the NRA, there are 3 basic, most important rules of firearm safety. These are the rules that you should know, understand, and have in mind before you even pick up a gun. So the first rule is always keep the gun unloaded until you're ready to use it. Here I have my hunting rifle. It's a 308 bolt action. It's unloaded. I know it's unloaded. You can see that it's unloaded right here. There's no round in the chamber. And I know that it's unloaded. But the second most important rule is to always keep your gun pointed in a safe direction. Always treat it as if it is loaded. I know for a fact that this gun is unloaded, but I need to assume that when I pull this trigger, that something's gonna come out the other end, and the bullet is gonna hit whatever the gun's pointing at. You must always assume that the gun is gonna go off if you pull the trigger. You have to always point it in a safe direction. Never point it at a house, at a person, at a car, anything like that, because you need to assume that when you pull that trigger, the gun's gonna go off. The third most important rule is always keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Now, there's a trigger guard here, and a lot of people will tell you to keep your finger outside the trigger guard like this when you're walking with it or whatever. When I'm walking through the woods, I like to have my hand just around the grip here, just in case you were to slip and your finger were to slip onto the trigger, that it wouldn't be good. So you need to always keep your finger off the trigger no matter what it takes to do that until you're ready to actually pull the trigger and have the gun go off. Those are the 3 most important rules. Before you ever pick up a gun, you need to know those rules and understand them. Some other rules that they come later. When you go to shoot, you need to know your target and what is beyond. So today I have a mannequin set up down there. I know you can't see it, but I have a mannequin down there, and I know that what the target is, and I know that there's a backstop behind it. I have a mound of dirt behind the target, and I know the target. I know what's behind it. I've been back there today. I know that there's nothing behind it that I don't want to shoot. When I went to my hunter safety course when I was 12 years old, I was sitting in the hunter safety course, and the instructor was going over this rule, and he told a story that stuck with me ever since I heard it. And he said, imagine you are groundhog hunting, and when you're groundhog hunting, you're sitting pretty far away from the groundhog, and you have the hole in your scope basically, and you're waiting for it to pop its head up so you can shoot it. He said, imagine you're groundhog hunting, and you're sitting at the bottom of a hill, and at the top of the hill you see this furry thing pop up, and it goes back down. And then it pops up and goes back down. And then it pops up, and on the 3rd time it pops up, you shoot it. And it goes down, and you run up there all excited. You killed a groundhog, and you get up there, and instead of a groundhog, there's a guy on the ground with one little hole in the side of his head and another bigger one on the other side, just writhing on the ground because you shot him. And you thought it was a groundhog. You thought that you knew your target, but it was actually a person. Imagine the horror, imagine the tragedy of that. So that just emphasizes the rule. You need to always, always, always know what your target is, know what you're shooting at, and know what's past that, because the bullet doesn't necessarily stop. The second rule is to always only use the correct ammunition for your gun. So I'm using a 308. I have my 308 ammunition right here. You never want to use ammunition that's not for your gun. That can cause a misfire. That can cause a lot of bad things for your gun. So you need to always use the correct ammunition. The third thing is always wear eye and ear protection when it's appropriate. So I have this ear protection here and the safety glasses. It says when appropriate. I'm using a 308. It's a very loud gun. It makes a really loud boom, so I'm going to wear ear protection. If you're shooting something like a 22, it's very quiet. It doesn't have hardly any kick, so you might not need to wear ear protection, but when you're using a louder gun, you definitely want ear protection so you don't have any permanent damage there. So I'm going to go ahead and chamber this round and go over the rules as I walk through. So I'm ready to shoot. I have my round chambered. My gun is on safe. It's still pointed down range. Nobody's down there. I put my ear protection on. And my eye protection. Okay. Now my finger's still outside the trigger here. I have my target lined up. Safe is off. Finger on the trigger. There we go. All right. So those are the important rules of gun safety. There's other rules like always clean your gun after you shoot it. You never want any debris in there or anything. But those are the definitely the most important rules of gun safety. If you follow these rules, you'll never have a problem. And you'll be able to keep the people and yourself around you safe. So you need to always follow those rules. Anytime you pick up a gun, even before you pick up a gun, you need to have those rules in mind, understand them. As Smokey the Bear says, only you can prevent forest fires. Well, I say, only you can prevent accidental shootings. Thank you.